This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on gearing up for Goa Assembly election. The participants are Professor Subhash Jan, political analyst, Mukesh Thali, AIR correspondent from Goa, and Vinay Kumar, journalist.
Of the 5 states that go to assembly polls, the BJP is ruling in 4. Goa is one of these 5 states which go to polls from nearly a month from now. The results will be out on March 10. Entry of Trinamool Congress and Aam Aadmi Party has complicated the picture in Goa, where elections have historically been bipolar and determined by local issues. Professor Subhash Jan, this time in 2022, how crucial these elections are for the ruling BJP at a time when they don't have the tallest leader of Goa, Manohar Parrikar. They are batting without Mr. Parrikar. What does it look like? Will BJP be able to hold on to power, or who is in a position to challenge the BJP in Goa?
Yes, Vinayji. As far as Goa is concerned, it's a very small state having 40 assembly constituencies. And right now, the BJP is ruling the state. And as far as my conscience goes, my study goes, and when I talk to different students of politics and people, that opposition is very big in Goa. So this is anti-incumbency, it is rather a pro-incumbency. So I think it's a simple push to BJP this time. And as you said, like TMC is entering in, AAP is entering in, but their pockets are very small. If you go to South Goa, wherein Luisino Falero resigned from Congress and took his entry in TMC, he is now the Rajya Sabha member of TMC. So he started that TMC entry in Goa. And he's having a political say only in South Goa, wherein he can influence only on 3 to 4 seats when you're talking about AAP. I don't think this political party will play a major role in Goa as far as the Vidhan Sabha elections of this 2022 is concerned. So in Goa, usually the candidate who is strong is performing, whether he belongs to BJP, whether he belongs to Congress or any other party. And it has been proved from time and again. Like if you talk about Vishwajit Rane, he was first Congress and then he resigned and then came back and then he elected independent and now he's for BJP. So when you talk about issues which reflect in Goa, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, Pramodji Sawant, the CM, he had something called as Swayambhurna Goa in different policies wherein there was a recruitment drive, wherein he involved the corporates, companies and various stakeholders and connected with the unemployed youth. So even the unemployment issue, though there are some national papers who unemployment is a major issue which will reflect in Goa, but I don't think this is a major issue. Now there was mega recruitment drive in all government offices. Now it is held up because of code of conduct as far as elections are concerned. He has tried to attract the new voters.
As you said, Goa is a small state and kind of switching over the loyalties is nothing new.
See, in Goa, I'll just elaborate on the current legislative assembly situation. And around 70% MLAs switching parties in the last 5 years. Still 1 more month to go for polling. 11 MLAs have resigned from their respective parties to join other political parties for contesting on a different symbol. And only 29 MLAs are left today in the 40 Assembly House. Lone NCP MLA Churchill Alemao, he did not resign but merged himself with TMC. In the last 5 years, as many as 27 MLAs have switched parties in their assembly. 10 Congress and 2 MGP MLAs merged themselves in the BJP, while Churchill merged in TMC. I just wanted to talk on the TMC and MGP coalition. MGP is a very strong political party. It was a strong political party with their natural alliance with BJP for quite a number of years, right from Manoharji Parrikar. Like how they had Shiv Sena BJP in Maharashtra, we had MGP BJP in Goa. And now they have a tie-up with totally different ideologically opposite party with TMC.
Over the recent past, we have seen emergence of regional forces and parties in many states, including Goa, including parts of southern India. So do they appeal to voters and do the voters look up to them for raising regional issues or issues particular to the coastal state? Are they cutting any ice with the voters, these regional parties?
In Goa, if you talk about regional party, MGP was very strong as far as regional party is concerned. But now, as of now, I would say they have lost their faith as far as Goans are concerned. And now there are new political parties which are emerging in Goa, which you all must be knowing, Revolutionary Goans, RG. And they are taking much interest to attract youth. And they are taking very local issues, localized politics. and they will definitely have certain amount of, I would say, some change they'll bring as far as the political thinking of the state is concerned. But this will not result into MLAs. Even as of now, MGP will be gaining 2, 3, 4 seats as of now. But Revolutionary Goans, the political party which is emerging as a local party and attracting youths.
And what about the main challenger, the Congress? In 2017 elections, Congress had won more seats than BJP. But even then, it could not form the government. And it was seen to be as lethargic, as very slow in responding to the situation, emerging political situation. So, how does it look like the scene for Congress? Will it be able to throw any challenge to the BJP?
Absolutely not. Because Congress as of now, I would say, is near to nil. Those are existing MLAs, they are leaving their party, going to some different political parties. There is no leadership. And this is the advantage the BJP will take. There is absolutely no opposition in Goa. You cannot see these are the coalitions now which are emerging, PMC and other parties. It's only because of elections. But the Congress party has failed to play their role as far as the opposition party is concerned. And they could not make that the existence of Congress prominently felt. It was not done in last 5 years. Because of the political defections, there is no opposition in Goa, and that is one of the advantages that BJP have.
You talked about unemployment, but what about industry and mining has been a major issue in the past also, where restrictions were imposed. And how many industries have sprung up recently? What has been part of developmental issues which the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi often talks about, politics of development and progress and taking the country forward. So how Goa has fared on these parameters?
Goa is doing quite well on these issues as far as infrastructural projects are concerned, roads are concerned, even startups are concerned. Goa is marching ahead. All national highway projects are taking very good speed in Goa. There are some projects which are completed. Now, another issue which is a positive issue for BJP is a very good COVID management. We have very lone project, medical college in Goa called as GMC, Goa Medical College. Now the oxygen plants are coming up and everything, it was dealt in a very systematic way. Vaccination is another issue. You must be knowing that we had 100% vaccination in all those few states that we had in the first list. So in COVID management area, Goa is also doing the best. And that has resulted in attracting some more voters. As I said, pro-incumbency, not anti-incumbency, it is for pro-incumbency.
And travel and tourism has also been, Goa is one of the major international hubs for tourists coming to India. So how that sector has suffered, globally, not only in India and Goa, but how bad has been the impact on this sector due to COVID?
It has suffered very badly in Goa because our economy is based on tourism. Our economy, as you said earlier, it was on mining. But now mining, because of Supreme Court decision, we could not have mining also. So mostly travel and tourism was the major area and we suffered because of COVID. But in spite of that, now after lifting of some COVID rules and regulations, now it's slowly gearing up. And some positive hopes are there as far as tourism is concerned. December is concerned, we have the maximum number of domestic tourists as well as international tourists. It will slowly gear up, but it will take time. We have definitely suffered. But this has not resulted into any anti-government wave. This is very important. This is not an issue as far as the elections are concerned. Nobody's talking about that. This was a global issue. Everybody suffered, we suffered. So this is not at all an issue. The employment, one of the issue wherein it can be reflected in this election.
We are now joined by our correspondent, Mr. Mukesh Tali from Panaji, Goa. Mr. Mukesh, how the arrangements are going on in Goa, after the announcement of elections? What is the mood of the people, how BJP government has fared in the past 5 years? And what is the perception of the people about the BJP government? What is the general political discourse in Goa?
I would like to say that the last 5 years, people are having the perception that BJP government has done a lot of development work in nook and corner of the state. And also there is advantage because BJP government is ruling in the center also. Right now, people are quite inquisitive about the ensuing polls on the 14th February. That is next month, and preparations are afoot, going on very fast. There is a everyday stress and tension because of pandemic. Today, the number of affected people, there was a steep rise. It rose beyond 3,000. Of course, there are no much casualties, but people are a bit under stress because you have to go out for voting and all, and the authorities are giving constant appeals to take care of all wearing masks, keeping distance and all those things. And voter awareness is also going on, as it is percentage in Goa for voting is always very higher. That is because of rate of literacy is quite high here, and the population of IT, information technology, is also much higher in Goa. And the youth are also educated here, and they go out for voting. Yesterday, our Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Kunalji, he launched a nice multimedia exhibition campaign in Kampal, Panji, near Kala Academy on Bandodkar grounds. So it will be there, that exhibition, for 5 days. And it is creating a lot of voter awareness. Also, Election Commission is using various other strategies and techniques to see that maximum voting will take place. And this time, facility is given to the older 80 plus of aged people to they can vote from their residences, provided they fill particular form and do the formalities. So that is also is a good plus point this time. And there will be other facilities, nice facilities for Divyang also. And there is awareness about these facilities for Divyang among those voters. They are also in much larger number. And other NGOs are also helping to ensure that these Divyang voters also feel secure and comfortable to go for voting. So now the issues for the election, like the first is the unemployment. Now so many other recruitments were on, but suddenly code of conduct was implemented, and the entire program of the recruitment, interviews, everything is stuck up. So that issue is there. Tourism also was another hindrance. For tourism was the COVID pandemic itself in Goa. For the first time I see that there are so many parties are in fray, like Aam Aadmi Party, Trinamool Congress. And then the revolutionary goal says, yes, youths, they have formed that party. Already there was Goa Forward Party, Marxwadi Gomantak Party. BJP and Congress are the major ones, but they are also going to play a key role in these elections.
Goa is a small state. So sometimes you would feel that, regional issues or local issues dominate the political discourse and the elections particularly. But for the past 5 years, in 2017, Congress had won more seats, but they could not form the government in Goa. So BJP has carried on, and even in absence of Mr. Manohar Parrikar, Pramod Sawant has been able to provide a rather stable governance structure in Goa. So how this fact is it being talked about in Goa? The BJP's track record and, absence of any big leaders in Goa, even from the ruling party. As you said, many defections have also taken place.
Recently, but the absence of, as you said, former Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar, he was an icon and role model of youth. They used to call him Bhai, and he had that aura, everything. Last time he was to go work very hard during this campaign and all. It is very much sad. But the government has provided stability, and they have done a lot, working very hard. Despite all these problems of pandemic for the last 2 years almost, they worked hard. Whatever they could do, the Mopa Airport and all this, it will provide employment generation to the locals, and that is what assurance is given by the local government, Chief Minister Dr. Pramod Sawant and his team. So people are that way satisfied with the government, but actually now it has to be seen on the day of the voting, what happens on the day of voting, like. But they are very much enthusiastic to vote their leaders. That's what I see around.
I think the election fever and the campaigning will pick up only, when all the candidates are announced and campaigning picks up. But this time there is also stress of Election Commission on digital means of campaigning through social media.
They have already appealed to use maximum digital, put restrictions on the minimum number of the people gathered as per the assembly of the meeting. As you said exactly, Mr. Vinod Kumar, that it will be, the main picture will be clear only after the day of the withdrawal, after filling the forms and all. And the entire will be clear. And right now, BJP has not announced the list of the candidates because maybe so many other parties, Aam Aadmi Party have announced their list. TMC also announced, other Congress have also announced some of the names. There are 40 seats, but BJP has not yet announced. So it has to be seen now.
Thank you, Mr. Mukesh.
Thank you. Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on gearing up for Goa Assembly election. The participants were Professor Subhash Jan, political analyst, Mukesh Thali, AIR correspondent from Goa, and Vinay Kumar, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.